What's up, guys? I thought I'd just quickly give you an update. I haven't posted one in a while, so I'm about to progress into the next stages, and I thought I'd just quickly show you what's happening. So the last update I think I gave you was that the old servos that I had for the locking mechanism of the Pinion burned out because they were a bit weak and they were plasticky. So I've upgraded them to some metal gears. Still cheap, little servos, you know, not particularly well powered or anything like that, but good enough for what I have to achieve. This is obviously sitting inside a proper skeleton for Cubie. So this is all to scale now. Quite a nice gap in between there. As you can see, it's a much lighter weight frame than my original frame, which is sitting out here in the background with you know, much more much thicker plastic joins and various other bits and pieces. So I've retired that one and I've moved into this new kind of lightweight design, given that I'm going to essentially work with geometry to achieve the strength. So it's got two servos, two pinions. Both of them move up and down. The most of this wiring on this circuit board up here is purely to control the buttons and, you know, the inputs and the outputs. At the end of the day, almost none of this is required, with the exception of the transistor for powering on and off the servos. So yep, simple demonstration, exactly the same as before. On the down position, up position, and the intermediary crouch position somewhere about there. I don't know, I'll figure it out when I fine tune it and put it in the actual bot. So the biggest discovery that I've made is that even though all of these servos, or the two pinion servos and the two lock servos, are identical in type from the same manufacturer, they behave slightly differently. So I am actually going to have to drive them off different pins with different calibrations. Each one's going to have to be individually calibrated, but that's okay, because ultimately we do want each servo to operate independently anyway. So, you know, whilst this example shows them behaving exactly the same, we really do want them to sort of do their own thing. Okay, the lock gear seems to have jammed there. There we go. But yes, it's still a work in progress, but I think as an initial prototype, it's working quite well. So I'm ready to move the circuitry along and push it onto my main board, which at the moment is attached to the drive test. So this board that I've been piecing together, which has got a bunch of custom circuitry on there and some horrid soldering underneath. I will attach, essentially I'll take this off and I'll put this on the top of the CubiePie, and I will just put some minor circuitry on this breadboard, attach that to the top as well. And obviously that means that my drive test rig will no longer function, but that's okay because it's time to take it to the next stage anyway. And then I will get the two drive pods moving up and down, being remote controlled by the Blink app off the mobile. And once I've done that, I'll get the drive pods in, which means I can reattach the wheels. So once I've got the drive pods in there, I can put the wheels in. Once the drive pods are moving up and down, obviously at that point, once the wheels are in, the wheels will then, the existing code and the existing circuitry, which works with the drive rig, with the drive test rig, will just simply work. Only it will look freaking awesome because I'll be able to extend it and retract it. So that is the next stage. You can see, you know, obviously we've got to have some room in here for the head to sort of, you know, extend out above the bot. So there's plenty of room in there. If you can see, there's at least a good, I don't know, maybe 5 centimeters, 4 centimeters thereabouts of clearance there. And also, given that that's sort of the board size that I'm working with at the moment, you can see that that board size there is quite easily going to fit in, you know, some room, the roof up here in that kind of alcove area up there. So I'm not too concerned about space at this point in time, especially considering I've also got the room that's going to be available to me inside each individual drive pod. So if I've got things like batteries or, you know, individual circuitry, standalone circuit modules and things like that that have to be accommodated for, I'll be able to just chuck them in the individual drive pods. So that shouldn't be a challenge. I've also got my new gyro. So this is an accelerometer and gyro circuit which I can use to track the position and the movement of the bot. So I'm going to need that essentially to ensure, because these motors do not have any kind of feedback, they're simply drive motors. When you apply a rotational value and the bot spins on the spot, you know, I'm going to have to use the gyro to evaluate where it's moved to. So if I want it to move 90 degrees to the left, I'm going to have to use the gyro to understand or to feedback that change in direction and tell the motors to stop if I want to move in that sort of direction. If I want to move forward, let's say, I don't know, a unit, we'll call a unit 10 centimeters, for example, then I'm going to have to use my gyro essentially to calculate the robot's position in space and start and stop the motors accordingly. I'd love to use expensive motors with feedback, but I think I'm just going to be overcomplicating things considering I've got 4 of the motors. So, I mean, I've also looked at it really, and I almost don't feel I need 4 motors. I almost need 2 drive motors and 2 idle wheels, but, you know, 4 motors is pretty cool. Gives it quite a lot of torque. And I'm thinking about the next time I buy motors, actually buying 1:100 ratio motors rather than 1:50 ratio motors, because this is still pretty bloody quick. And I just don't know that I need it to be that quick. I need it to be more reliable in terms of its movement. So we might end up doing that. But those are the next steps. So yeah, next steps are to essentially take this board, put it on top of the CubiePie prototype. Breadboard as well will go up there. And all of this wiring, all of this crazy afro hair, which is you know, just prototyping wire, will go away. And we'll see what it looks like when it's controlled remotely using the Blink app on the mobile phone. Cheers guys, speak to you soon.